Be honest with me for a second. Have you ever looked in the mirror after a fresh cut and thought, why does my jaw look so heavy? Or maybe you notice that soft little dip beneath the chin, that subtle shift in contour that suddenly makes your whole silhouette feel off. Most women over 60 don't talk about this specific challenge. But the truth is, the wrong haircut can add 10 years to your face. But the right one? It can take 10 years off. And after 60, that difference is life-changing. It's not you. It's not weight. It's not age. It's geometry. The wrong line can drag the whole lower face. But the right one shifts the center of gravity, draws the eye up, and brings the light back to your eyes. Think about this. Just 1 centimeter of volume at the crown can make your jawline appear neater because it activates the visual effect of vertical direction. That's the science we are playing with today. In this deep dive, we are breaking down 5 strategic solutions, cuts, and styling techniques that are proven by visual science, hair biology, and the psychology of perception to instantly lift and flatter the lower face. Because, remember this, the key is not to conceal, but to direct the gaze. We are not here to chase youth. We are here to celebrate our age with style, elegance, and cuts that work with you, not against you. Before we get into the snips and angles, let's pause and understand why our hairstyles matter so much after 60. Here's what's really going on with hair after 60. Hair changes just like everything else. It feels finer, dries out more easily, and doesn't have the same bounce. That's not a flaw. It's just biology. Our bodies slow down production of keratin and collagen, so each hair strand gets thinner. Even if you had a thick mane at 30, it's normal for things to look and feel different now. What I notice, and maybe you do too, is that hair starts to lie flat. Getting lift and fullness feels like a daily puzzle. So, the way we cut our hair matters even more. The trick is to build in some volume at the crown, but do it gently with techniques that don't rough up those fragile ends. But it's not just science. There's also how it feels and how people see us. Psychologists say the way hair frames the face actually changes how old or how energetic people think we are. Add some lift around the cheekbones, and suddenly you look less tired, more awake. Let hair get heavy at the sides, and the whole face drops. I've seen it in the mirror myself. There's another detail most people don't talk about: facial contrast. As we age, the difference between our features and skin gets softer. A good cut can bring back some of that definition around the hairline, the cheeks, the eyes, so the face stands out again. A great haircut at this stage isn't about pretending you're younger. It's about showing up with confidence. Change the frame, and the whole portrait shifts. So, what do we look for? Volume at the crown, layers that point the eye in the right direction, and enough contrast around the face to keep it lively. This isn't about chasing lost youth. It's about understanding what works and using it. Let's get into 5 practical hair solutions that genuinely flatter and lift. If your hair's gotten finer or thinner, and let's be honest, most of us are dealing with that, then you probably know the disappointment of a blunt, one-length cut. It looks neat for about an hour. By lunchtime, it's flat, and all the attention drops to the bottom half of your face. That's usually not where we want the focus. That's where this cut comes in. The Crown-Lift Lob isn't about chasing trends. It's about building just enough lift at the roots to pull the eye up, not down. Here's what's really happening. When you add even a bit of height, just a centimeter or so right at the crown, the whole face seems longer, and the jawline less heavy. The hair lifts, and the eye naturally goes upward straight to your eyes. It's a little like redirecting the spotlight. The sweet spot for this cut is just brushing the shoulders, with layers that aim up, not out. If you ask for those gentle, upward layers at the crown, they quietly hold the shape all day. But the rest of your hair stays full. No thinning out the sides, no bulk around the jaw. Trust me, the last thing you want is width where you don't need it, especially if your face is rounder. As for styling, it doesn't take much. Use a light root lifting powder or cream at the crown, and when you blow dry, angle the brush up at the roots. If you're willing to spend 10 extra minutes, Velcro rollers up top do wonders. Just let them sit while you finish your coffee. That subtle lift sticks around, and your hair looks naturally good. We all know, it's not just luck. A quick note on neck length. If yours is on the shorter side, don't go overboard. Even half a centimeter of lift at the crown makes a difference. Longer neck, you can get away with a bit more. Here's what I always remind myself. Go up before you go out. Lift matters more than width. So if your hair falls flat halfway through the day, give the Crown-Lift Lob a try. You might be surprised at how much lighter your whole face feels. And if you want a little more definition around the jaw, sometimes just adding the right angle does all the work. If you've ever tried a bob and thought it made your jawline look even more prominent, you're not alone. The problem usually isn't with the length itself, it's with where the cut stops. Too many bobs drop all their weight right at the jaw, making everything underneath feel heavy and dragging the face down. What we actually need is for the line to sweep right past that soft spot. That's what makes the angled bob with tucked layers different. The line of the cut moves diagonally from shorter in the back to longer in the front so the eye travels upward, instead of getting stuck at the jaw. Ideally, you want the front of the bob to fall about 2 to 4 centimeters below your jawline, somewhere near the top of the collarbone. This length skips past that area where the face softens, so you get lift instead of heaviness. The tucked layers do a quiet job here. They're not about adding volume, they create a little space between the ends of your hair and your neck. That bit of space makes your whole silhouette look lighter. If the cut sits tight and blunt against your jaw, it pulls everything down. But let the ends arc in just a bit, and the face looks sharper, almost like a gentle frame. Blunt lines don't do us any favors at this age. Instead, ask your stylist to use a point cutting technique at the ends, just soft, little notches, so nothing looks harsh. You want the hair to curve inward, like the collar of a favorite jacket. It's polished when you stand still, and when you move, it relaxes and flows. If you want to make it simple for your stylist, just say, angle the bob about 20-30 degrees, point cut the ends, and let the front fall 2 to 4 centimeters below my jaw. That's the formula. The big idea here, don't let the cut stop right at the jaw. Let it go past. Give yourself a softer line. This isn't about turning back the clock. It's about finding shapes that feel current, that echo where we are now, and let us look as sharp as we feel inside. Sometimes the best move is to pull attention away from the lower half of the face. I found that nothing does this better than a light, wispy bang, those sheer fringes or curtain bangs you might have seen. Instead of hiding behind heavy, solid bangs, you get this gentle veil that covers forehead lines just enough. But more importantly, it pulls the eye back up to your eyes and cheekbones. The softness matters. Heavy bangs can feel like a throwback, but sheer, airy bangs open up the face. Curtain bangs, especially, part in the middle, and swing toward your cheeks, lifting everything upward, without adding bulk. It's the difference between looking boxed in and looking lit up. But there's another part to this. Adding just a bit of color contrast around your face. Think of subtle highlights or lowlights, what salons call a money piece, right at the hairline and along the bangs. This isn't about going bold or dramatic. It's about giving your features a little spotlight, so your eyes and smile stand out. Sometimes that's all it takes to freshen things up. No heavy makeup, no drastic changes needed. And if you're sticking with your natural color, you can still get the effect with a brow pencil and a little lipstick, just enough to keep your features sharp. The bottom line, when the edges are clear and the contrast is right, you get that energy back in your face. No full coverage tricks required. Mix these soft bangs and subtle color with any classic cut, and suddenly the focus is exactly where you want it. If you're looking to keep your hair on the longer side, but still want movement and a bit of bounce? A soft shag is worth considering. The thing I've noticed as the years go by, hair loses its oomph. All one length and it just hangs there, making every thin spot look thinner. The soft layered shag solves that by using gentle, feathered layers that add lift where you need it and quietly thin out any spots that feel heavy or bulky. Suddenly, your hair moves, looks fuller, and doesn't just sit flat against your head. But here's where it matters. Mature or gray hair is delicate, so the layering needs to be gentle. You want microlayers that angle upward, not deep, choppy chunks. These soft layers act like built-in scaffolding, giving you lift and shape without roughing up the ends. Always ask your stylist to keep it cuticle safe, no razors, no thinning shears on fragile strands. Too much of that, and you end up with wispy, see-through hair that won't behave. The beauty of this cut? It works with minimal fuss. A quick blow-dry at the roots is often enough. If you want extra volume, Velcro rollers at the crown for 10 minutes, while you make breakfast, does the trick. What this cut quietly says: energy, ease, and a touch of softness. Hair with movement feels and looks more alive, more open. You get fullness and texture, but never at the cost of healthy ends. So remember, go for volume by shaping, not by thinning. The right shag gives you all the body you're missing, without any rough edges. When your hair sits right at the collarbone, just grazing the shoulders, it quietly changes the whole shape of your face. I find this especially helpful if your face is rounder or softer, because the eye naturally follows the line straight down, almost like tracing a ruler alongside your cheek. The Collarbone-Grazing Layered Lob nails this. It's long enough to lengthen your neck, but not so long that your jawline disappears. The secret is in the cut. Ask for the front to be a little longer than the back, about a centimeter or two does the trick. That tiny diagonal keeps the hair falling straight, so your face feels lifted, not widened. It's important not to add width at the ears or cheeks. Too much volume on the sides can make the face look puffy. Trust me, I've had those haircuts, and I always regretted them. Another trick? Move your part off-center. Even just a deep side part, think a 6:4 ratio, breaks up the symmetry and draws the eye on a gentle diagonal from the crown down to the jaw. It doesn't look drastic, but it makes a big difference. And don't forget your clothes. Pairing this cut with an open neckline or a long scarf stretches that vertical line even more. If you have a very round face, you can ask for the ends to flip out slightly, just at the bottom. That small outward curve brings the eye right to your collarbone and adds a little polish. This cut feels soft but structured, graceful but never fussy. It's the kind of style that always looks intentional, even when you haven't done much to it. The main thing to remember: keep the eye moving up and down, not side to side. That's how you get that gentle, lengthening effect that flatters without ever looking forced. Let's wrap this up. We've covered a lot: structure, movement, and a handful of haircuts that actually work with the way our faces change over time. Every strategy comes back to simple things: where the weight sits, how the shape flows, and what draws the eye. None of these cuts are about pretending we're still 30. They're about making you look like yourself, sharp, lively, and right here, right now. If you take nothing else from all this, just remember these 3 things. 1. Add some lift at the crown, just enough to pull everything upward. 2. Don't let the cut get heavy at the jaw. Let the shape angle down and past the chin, so the lower face feels lighter. 3. Bring in some contrast around your face. Wispy bangs, a little color, whatever makes your features pop. At this age, picking the right haircut isn't about fuss. It's a way to feel more like yourself, matching your outside to how you actually feel on the inside. When you find a style that frames your face and moves with you, you don't just look fresher, you stand a little taller. You notice it every time you walk by a mirror. We're not fading out, we're getting clearer and a bit bolder. Sometimes all it takes is a good haircut to remind you who you are and who you still get to be. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these styles feels like it fits your life right now? The Crown-Lift Lob, the angled bob, the sheer fringe, the soft shag, or that vertical collarbone cut? Share what speaks to you below. Or tell me what hair topic you want to dig into next, maybe keeping silver hair bright, or easy color tips. Thank you for spending your time with me today. If this was helpful, pass it on to a friend who deserves to feel good about her hair too. And truly, your presence is noticed and valued.